Sports. I'm your host, Shahzeb Malik. I'm joined here with Connor Caligaris, Jack Berney. I almost said Jack Black. Jack, I'm joined here with Jack Berney.
Mike Black.
What?
I thought you said Mike Hook.
What is happening?
Oh, Lord. And then Mike Hook. And what I'm trying to say is it's the return of the Jack. We're all back here in Cleveland, Ohio. Against his wrist. Don't give away. Just kidding.
I think we should just restart this.
No. This is good.
Okay.
I like this.
This is fun. We're having a good time.
This is funny.
And all right. Sovid, whatever. What is it called?
Here, I'll speak for you. So, with the recent COVID-19 outbreak, the NBA has postponed its regular season and playoffs are in doubt right now. Craziness. There's been 4 days since all major sports. MLB is already saying it's going to cancel so far. Basketball's gone, soccer's gone, hockey's gone. Right now, the boys and I were betting on bowling. Golf's gone. Even the PGA World Tour has been postponed until further date. Golf has been canceled. I don't know what all these old people are going to do now. That's it. They're done.
Watch bowling.
Or go. I can't go bowling because places are being closed down.
I said watch.
Watch bowling. True. ESPN Live World of Poker. Getting back to the NBA, 3 players so far have tested positive for COVID-19. Those include Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell, as well as Detroit Pistons' Christian Wood. There have been reports that Emmanuel Mudiay was also tested positive, but those have been denied. Other players have been tested. Recent opponents of the Utah Jazz, which include the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, have self-quarantined their players and gotten them tested. So far, nothing has come back positive. In the wake of the regular season being canceled, individual players such as Cleveland's Kevin Love, New Orleans' Zion Williamson, Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well as Golden State's Steph Curry, have all pledged their own money into helping out employees of the arenas that they work for, and to make sure that employees get paid while the NBA season is being suspended. Jack, what are your reactions? How did you react when you first heard this?
Well, guys, I was actually on the floor at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse covering the MAC tournament. Kent State was playing Buffalo, the women's team. I was filming the game for our TV station, and I just, by chance, was on Twitter. And so, first hit, Tom Hanks has coronavirus. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. so I clicked retweet. I got to keep the followers informed. And then about, literally 5 minutes later, Woj, 32 seconds after he tweeted it, it says, the NBA is suspending its regular season. I'm like, what? I was so shocked. It was crazier to be, in an arena with, where a game was going on. There's no fans. It's only media, refs, and, family members of the team. It was really crazy. And then when we got into the press, we went to the press conference after. Everybody in the room was like, Rudy Gobert tested positive. Didn't they just play here? Where we were. So it was kind of really that's when it set in for me. Okay, this might not just be a virus that I'm not gonna get. This is affecting our everyday life, especially as sports media guys. This is our job. This is our hobby. This is what we like to do. And without any sports, I mean, it's hard, but we're here. We're doing stuff. We're covering it for you. Connor,
I'm sorry. Shahzeb, I'm not sure that's eating some kind of candy. Can you chew any louder? I'm surprised the mic's not picking that up. Speak about Mike Hook.
What's
way
up?
Down the corner. What was your initial reaction upon hearing the news about the NBA?
All right. So I was at work actually, and so I'm about to clock out, and I look at my phone really quickly, and I see a tweet notification from Woj, and I'm like, okay, so something's going on. Maybe a free agent signing or something. No. NBA season suspended. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right then.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a quick pit stop in the bathroom at my work, and I get 3 calls from Shahzeb really quickly, and I'm like, dude, I'm in the bathroom, give me 2 seconds. And so I get out, I call him, and he's like, dude, this is a problem. And I'm sitting there yeah, you're right. I sound like the world's worst ESPN analyst right now. Oh my god. Oh shit! I just called 6 feet, guys. 6 feet.
Goodbye, guys. It's been real.
See you in quarantine.
We're in
But
quarantine right now.
We're in quarantine.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is a
We are
quarantine
coming
recording.
at you live from our quarantine studio.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, it's wild to say the least. Like we don't have any sports going on. People have already made videos of them getting pumped at bowling on ESPN, and they're funny. Don't get me wrong. But damn, I miss basketball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That baseball's been pushed back, like Connor said. The only sport where it's like obviously hasn't been affected is football because they don't have a season going on right now, and from what it seems like they're going to be starting on time unless this like becomes like a huge thing that persists on into the football season. But yeah, so I just miss sports, dude.
Yeah.
Sports. Yeah.
Who
Okay,
wants
so far, what the NBA has decided to do, I want to get your thoughts on this part. So what the NBA has decided to do in response to COVID-19, so far they've suspended the regular season for 30 days, and right now reports have been coming out saying that the league is looking for a mid-June return with playoffs in August, and then this could potentially work into a whole rewiring, restarting of the league's year-round system where the league could be starting around Christmas time, like they did the one lockout season.
Yes.
So, Shahzeb, I want your thoughts right now, plus your reaction, since we've got everyone so far. What was your initial reaction to this?
So, I mean, the biggest thing was, of course, wow, what are we going to do? In our free time. We're not going to be able to watch the game. We're not going to be able to commentate. We're not going to be able to do what we do on a regular, day basis. And then my head went straight to okay, where do we go from here? Like we were talking about is do they just follow the lockout season schedule? Do they just postpone it till next year? Do they cancel the season outright, rather? But I think the league is really good with proactive response. And I mean, you've seen all the tweets of all the stuff that the NBA has had to go through this year. David Stern's passing, Kobe Bryant's passing, obviously this COVID-19 epidemic, and so much more. And each time Adam Silver has led with great directiveness and said, all right, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, move forward. And I think that's what him and the NBA Board of Governors and team owners are looking to do right now as we speak. They're figuring out, emergency responses, how to move things around, how to be more cleansing. What they did is they shut off travel for all the players. They said no players moving. You stay where you are. And then obviously some teams did the quarantine. And I think that's obviously you got to play this safe. I think that even though the whole narrative around this, it's just a common flu, that's true. But I think that with the way that it's been spreading and the government's response, I think we need to take it much more seriously than we tend to take these kind of things, and move forward with basic hygiene, but also just common sense. And I think that's what the NBA is doing. And I think moving forward, basketball, to be honest, basketball's the last thing on their minds. You know what I mean? The first thing is how do we secure the players? How do we secure the fans? And then how do we move forward? And then that part of moving forward will be, okay, what do we do with basketball? But to answer that question, I think that what they should do is follow the lockout season a bit, or the lockout season schedule a bit, and then. But I think we talked about it before getting into recording. The very interesting part is if Kyrie and KD are back and they're healthy, by August, come playoff time, it's wow, they could sweep the East. They could make a run. It'll be very interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. But Jack, what do you think about this? The way this is going to affect the playoffs for the league?
Well, I think as soon as I heard that it was suspended, I thought they played the majority of the games. I thought, why not just pick up right off with the playoffs?
Right.
I mean, that's what I think they should do. I don't think they will do that, but I don't know. Another interesting thing that was floated out there, I think it was Spencer Dinwiddie. He tweeted a 28-team bracket that the NBA could do. I don't think that's a good idea because 28 teams do not. The Knicks would be the 28 seed, I believe, because the Cavs are 29 and the Warriors are 30.
They'd be Atlanta would be the 28th seed.
Oh,
wow.
Sweet.
Cleveland, the Cavs in the playoffs. Let's
go! But yeah.
No, Cavs are below Atlanta.
Cavs and Warriors would be the last
Cavs
two
are
out.
up Atlanta.
No, they aren't.
No,
I'm looking at it right now.
The Cavs are the second worst record in the league, but it's good. But I think it's gonna affect the playoffs. I think it would be awesome if KD and Kyrie could come back for the Nets, but I also think it would be kind of unfair to a team if they play Milwaukee in the first round. Milwaukee, the team that's been the best team in the league all year, if they had to face that juggernaut in the first round and they get bounced, because that they haven't been healthy all year. I don't think that's necessarily fair. But I think if the NBA wants to start next season on time, because if you're talking about playoffs in August and then you're trying to start the next season up in October, that's just not going to happen. Now the lockout season they started on Christmas. I think if they move the playoffs to August and start the new season on Christmas with training camp in November, I think that would be the ideal way the NBA should do this if we don't get it back till June or July. If we get it back earlier, though, I think you might as well just start with the playoffs to try and start as close to on time as you can with the regular season.
I think that with if they were to start just like in like June or July with playing basketball again, regular season basketball, and finish out an 82-game season with playoffs in August, I think that, like you said, like starting on Christmas is going to be like a really good thing because Christmas basketball is already such a big thing. So why not just say, hey, we're gonna put basketball right back on Christmas, have it be opening night, and I would say honestly have it follow the lockout schedule. Play about 62 to 66 games in that season, have it follow the regular season schedule after that, where you're starting the playoffs in April or May, finishing up in June, and get back to your regular 82 game season after that. I think that's the smartest way of going about it. We've done lockout seasons before where we had shortened seasons, so it's not something that's out of question, at least. So it's overall, I think that's just the smartest way of going out about this. Anyone have any differing opinions?
I was just gonna say the KD return and Kyrie return to Brooklyn potentially, that was gonna be my main points on my round association, but
we can still get there.
We'll still talk about it. Yeah.
No, I agree completely with that. I think that following that they should do is follow the lockdown season. If they want to keep the same league schedule, start do summer league and then training camps in fall and then start in October. If they still want to do that, then do the lockout season, finish this one up, in the summer with playoffs, and then do the lockout season start in December and then just follow that. But this could be a change in the way the games are scheduled, because if they do decide just to rewire the whole 82 game season, that's big, that's and also you got to figure out because this season has been canceled, been postponed, so which means that these games still have to be played if they're going to continue the regular season. And you brought up a point about how playoff seedings in the Eastern Conference is pretty much set. The 8 teams are pretty much set. I think the 9th seed is Washington. I think they're like 5 games behind AC Brooklyn. But in the West, you still have New Orleans right there. You have Memphis as the 8th seed. You have New Orleans right there, Portland, San Antonio, Sacramento. They also have important games to play. So I don't think it'd be fair for those teams in the West to have, especially like Portland, who's been riddled with so many injuries, and it just wouldn't be fair for those Western like Portland or New Orleans, who have been waiting, to try. They've been grinding away and cutting down in games to try to get to that 8th seed. I don't think it'd be fair for them. So I do think they probably should continue the regular season in the summer and then finish up playoffs. And I think that if they don't want to reschedule the whole 82 game season, like just to do a whole new thing league wide, then the playoffs, all that stuff, I think they should do the lockout season in the Christmas. You got something you want to?
I just realized this when you were talking about Portland, actually. Portland, here's the thing with Portland. They're the 9th seed right now. Obviously, if we were still playing, they'd be still fighting for that 8th playoff spot. If they do start the season back up in the regular season and don't just skip to the playoffs and Memphis is automatically the 8th seed, they're going to be a lot healthier. They're going to have CJ McCollum fully healthy again. Damian Lillard is going to be insanely rested at this point in time. They're going to have Yusuf Nurkic back to full strength. They're going to have Zach Collins back to full strength. Rodney Hood's going to be closer to. I mean, he has a torn ACL. I think it's
he's going to
be gone for a while. So there's not going to be anything about that. But you're talking about Brooklyn being healthy again. They're going to have 2 superstar players back and ready to go again. But Portland's going to have a team that's almost at full strength again.
Yeah, because that was another point around the association. Let's get done early. Why not? Because the Portland Trailblazers announced that the canceled Houston Blazers game, which would have happened last night, I believe, would have been the return of Yusuf Nurkic, who's been gone.
Really?
Yes, they announced he would have been back.
That's right.
Nurkic has been out for a whole year. Has not played this year. He went out last season. He had 2 fractures in his left leg in a double overtime victory against the Nets. Scary injury. He's been out ever since. He's been grinding his way, trying to get back. And yesterday would have been his return game. I don't know if he would have been starting in front of Hassan Whiteside or come off the bench. They probably do what they're doing. The Pacers did with Oladipo when he came back, is have him come off the bench and maybe have him start. I don't know what they want to do with Whiteside. But yeah, last night would have been his return game. And you brought up a good point about Portland, how everyone's like Zach Collins. He only played 3 games this season. This is supposed to be like his breakout season as like a main contributor to this team, and he only played 3 games before he went out with a shoulder injury. Nurkic coming back is huge for this team, and having Damian Lillard 100%, CJ McCollum 100%, having Rodney Hood closer to coming back, because right now you look at their bench, their bench is pretty much depleted. Even when they traded Ken Basemore and Anthony Tolliver away for Trevor Ariza, and they put Ariza in the starting lineup, that's more of their bench gone. So now the bench is, correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony Simons, Gary Trent Jr., Mario Hezonja.
Nazir Little too.
Nazir Little when he plays.
When he plays, yeah.
And Caleb Swanigan when he plays. So
Yeah.
maybe you got 8 guys essentially for your team, and having Collins back, that's another bias. Because the team is very small with everyone out, with Nurkic out. They had Pau Gasol. They waived him, but he was nursing a foot injury. But even if they get Zach Collins back, Nurkic's gonna be back. If they do get Zach Collins back, that's gonna be huge for them because that's another rotation guy. It's another guy who can spread the floor. He's big, and he's another young body for his team. And it's another guy for their bench. And even with New Orleans, Zion Williamson's been destroying the league so far in his rookie season, and I'd hate for that to be cut short. I want to see him play this out. It's entertaining. Mm-hmm. So I know you got some thoughts. I want to go on.
So I think that the NBA has to balance. Obviously they want to remain competitive, but balancing competitivity with proactivity and being real with everything, realism. I think that it's ideal that they could start tomorrow and everything would be fine. But with the real sense, they know that that's not going to happen. They know that in order to move forward, they're going to have to make some certain decisions that they might not want to make. But it's sometimes it's the toughest. It's the sometimes to do what's right, you have to be tough and just push through. And I think to bring it back to the playoffs, I think it's very interesting. Like I said, we brought up all these different scenarios of like, oh, the Trailblazers can make a run or the Nets can make a run, and I think that stuff is very interesting. That's what's going to keep us going through this quarantine is talking about these scenarios, hopefully. But I agree with what you said about the East is pretty much set, but the West, it's always down to the little bit of what's going on in the West. And I think that moving forward, it'll be very interesting to see how all this stuff plays out. Pelicans versus Spurs versus Trailblazers, all fighting for that 8th spot. But I don't see a 28 game bracket happening either. That's just kind of like a pipe dream, I think. But what else on this, guys? Anyone want to chime in? Yeah, Jake.
Well, I mean, it obviously is it sucks that the NBA is suspended, but I think we have the potential for this playoffs to be the most competitive playoffs we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Talk about a LeBron with 3 months of rest. Talk about Kawhi with 3 months of rest. Like,
I can actually play every game.
Yeah. LeBron's gonna be at full strength. Everybody who is not healthy right now, the teams that are not healthy right now, are gonna be pretty much healthy come playoff time. So I'm telling you, I know that it sucks. I know we're kind of on a hiatus and a spring break from sports right now. But when we got the NBA and the MLB starting around the same time, and then we got going straight into the NFL. Think about it. If the NBA finals are in August, NFL starts their preseason and their season in September. So we're gonna have a whole lot of sports if this gets sorted out soon. I hope it does. But it's gonna be fun to watch when the NBA resumes because everybody's gonna be at full strength, and it's gonna be pretty fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I really think potential baseball and basketball at the same time. MLB and NBA. Also, Big Three. Remember the Big Three? That's also in if that doesn't get postponed, that's also in the summer. Then right into that, you got the NFL. So I mean, sports would try right now, but you guys it's coming. Big sports are coming. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like
I can't stop laughing at Shahzeb just chewing on this candy right now.
I'm just trying to ignore it as much as I can, but it's like ASMR. It's like it's right in my left ear. I can't get rid of it. It's crazy. No, yeah, I like the point you brought about. Everyone's gonna be healthy and everyone's gonna be competitive, and I'm if this upcoming playoffs gonna be anything like last year's playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that 'cause last year was ridiculous with Kawhi. Because even with the first round, you had the game winner, DJ Augustine hit the Magic against Raptors game 1. Everyone was like, like what's happened? And then they got swept. Like, the gentleman's sweep, 5 games. But I mean, it was
Gentleman's sweep.
But then you had Kawhi's insane shot against Philly.
Oh, that was insane.
And then you had the insane, Giannis getting cleaned up by Kawhi in those final 4 games of that series. I mean, it's just crazy. And then you look in the Western Conference, everyone's gonna be. LeBron's gonna be 100%. AD in that Lakers team, that's gonna be crazy. You look in LA, Paul George could be 100% hopefully. Same Kawhi Leonard. They got so many new additions to this team. You wonder how it's gonna work up, and that's what's gonna keep us engaged here. Is those what if games, like what happens? So what could happen here? So I think that's interesting to look at that. Anything else?
Yeah. I'll close this up before the break, but yeah, I mean it's kind of like in the summer when there's nothing going on with the NBA and we're in the off season. We think about, what could happen this year? Like, what if this person signs here, gets traded, and all these different mismatch scenarios, mix and match scenarios. And I think that's the kind of thing that we have to be doing here. Yeah. So, this has been part 1 of the Just Hoop Show on Unbranded Sports, and we will catch you on part 2. And welcome back to the Just Hoop Show on Unbranded Sports. We're still in quarantine. Oh, well. But, oh, well, what are you going to do?
It's been, 10 minutes? So, of course, we're still in quarantine.
And we're fine. And we're going to jump straight into Around the Association, the main man, Connor Caligaris. Take it away.
That's right. Now, since the NBA's been suspended, a little dry here, but we're gonna figure it out. We're just gonna power through. Let's go. First story, we always have them on here. The New York Knicks. They're always here. We always got covered. There's always something going on in New York. Now, before the regular season was suspended, and in the aftermath of the whole Spike Lee incident, attendance at Madison Square Garden was down considerably, and even with Spike Lee not present, fans just didn't want to show up. Protesting their social media protests, hashtag, I think it was like hashtag
empty the garden.
Empty the garden, empty MSG, empty the garden. And in the next home game after Spike Lee's last home game, video surfaced of two fans being escorted out by MSG security for chanting "Sell the team." Now, James Dolan controversial moves against fans have been nothing new. Last season, a video surfaced of a fan confronting Dolan. A fan chanted "Sell the team." Dolan confronted him and permanently banned him from MSG.
Nice.
There's 2 scenes before that, the whole Charles Oakley incident.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember this.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So I forgot which game it was, but during a nationally televised game, New York Knicks, Charles Oakley was in attendance, and he got into us. I said, "I want to enlighten me on this after, because I might butcher this." It's been a hot minute since I heard about this. I know read up on the story, but from what I remember, during a nationally televised game in Madison Square Garden, Charles Oakley got into a bit of a scuffle with security, and they boot him out. They said, "Get out, Charles Oakley."
Okay.
I think that's the gist of it.
Yeah. So to chime in a bit, I mean, there was a verbal altercation between security and obviously Charles Oakley, and then James Dolan got involved with it, and the video was very brutal. I mean, it's like he's just like being carried out, and it's a big guy, so obviously he's resisting, and it really got I mean, Charles Oakley is known as being one of the bad boys from New York in the 90s, so he's a very physical guy. He has a great legacy here in New York. But for the fact that this man who had done so much for the franchise and has gone out of his way to be a guest and patron of the Knicks organization, and the fact that he's just being thrown out like he's just a bum, it sent a lot of shockwaves for the league. And even in the past couple of weeks, as the New York Knicks have had much more incidents, he's been on shows talking about like what they did. It's kind of like trying to get to like a crime, American Crime Story or something like that, where he's just like talking.
Doesn't Spike Lee like spend like over like $250,000 on tickets like every season?
Yeah, I got you.
Here, New York, I got you. Here's $4. The Dolans might be cheap enough to take that. Just saying. We'll start a GoFundMe for you guys.
Now, just to recap the Spike Lee incident, just to get the whole story on here. During the Knicks, right before the Knicks, I believe it was a 125-121 victory over Houston Rockets at MSG. Spike Lee, he goes into a certain entrance that he's been going to for years. I believe 30 years. He's been
The
going to
employee
a
entrance.
employee entrance for 30 years. In the elevator, he already scanned his ticket. No, he was already checked into the arena. And he was in the elevator, and security pulled him out and said, "We need you. There's a problem. We need you to leave. I'll go outside the building. We enter into another entrance." Spike Lee said he had a problem with this because he knows that once you check in, scan your ticket into a sports event, you can't leave the arena and then come back in. So he was protesting that. I've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you telling me this now? And he was told, well, he wasn't told, but he got word that the Knicks sent out a statement saying that there was a new policy change. But Lee said he was not informed of any new policy change, even though he was the biggest fan. He's the biggest fan of the team. He's the biggest celebrity who goes to every single home game, every single playoff game there's been in New York. And in the 30 years, I believe he spent I think it's like $10 million in the total.
It's gotta be. It's up
At
there.
least.
Lee said in an exclusive interview on First Take on ESPN the day after the story broke, Lee said he was done with the team. He wasn't coming to any games this season. Next season he'll try again. But it's been a bunch of dramas around James Dolan. People have been calling him out on social media, especially Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. For years we've been calling for James Dolan to either sell the team or step down as owner. Dolan has refused to do so, and he still owns the team. But there's a lot of drama surrounding the Knicks right now, and with the season suspended, you wonder what's going to happen next.
Right.
Jack, any thoughts?
Yeah, the Knicks. Spike Lee is one of the only things that keeps you guys relevant these days, and to just kick him out of your arena, kind of just you don't want to be relevant anymore. It sucks. I mean, the Knicks, you got a lot bigger problems on the court than a fan coming in through the employee entrance.
Yeah.
Your most well-known fan, a guy who's been going to your games for 30 years, like. I hate to break it to you, he's one of the only fans that are going to your games right now, and you kick him out because he comes through the wrong entrance. I mean, come on. The Knicks, poorly run organization, probably the most poorly run organization in sports. Dolan should sell the team. I don't know if he will, but there's definitely a lot that needs to change before the Knicks are talked about for anything positive. Every time we mention them on the show, it's either to laugh at them or be negative about them, and usually it's a little bit of both. So congratulations, New York Knicks. You are back on the show.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you brought an interesting point about how poorly this organization is run as compared to so many dynamic progressive owners in the league. When you look at Mark Cuban, when you look at Joe Lacob and the organization in Golden State, they know what they're doing. They love the game. They love the players. They're gonna and I've done I've watched a couple documentaries about Mark Cuban, and like right when he joined, like players got all new, like got a new jet, and the hotels were nicer, and the practice facilities were nicer, and that wasn't done just to like welcome them to stardom, but it was done to show them that they're not just a number in the system of all these players, that they're part of this community, part of this league-wide family. And it's something that James Dolan and the Knicks have no regard and no respect for. It's an utter disregard for simple just humanity and formalities. They just don't do it. And it's ridiculous. It's wrong. And I mean, the worst part of this all is that instead of confronting this, James Dolan, you sit there and cry like a little bitch. That's what you do. You sit there and you say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to this person. Get him out of here." You just point and you have one of your goons pick him up, take him out. Guarantee you wouldn't be able to face Charles Oakley face to face and tell him to get out. I can guarantee it. And the fact that you still have this position in this wonderful league with what should be a great team, it's a shame. And Jack, the best point you brought was that Spike Lee's one of the only the celebrity fans that consistently goes. Like the late night talk show hosts like Jimmy Fallon and the guys that are in New York, they don't go. They go every now and then. Whenever actors are in for movies or when actors are in for press junkets, that's when they go. No one goes there consistently that lives there, and it's a damn shame.
Most celebrities go to Brooklyn games now instead if they're in New York.
Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're always repping Brooklyn.
Jay-Z owns the Nets.
I know.
Well, he should. He should be there if he owns the team.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So that's our weekly Knicks part of the Round Association. The other weekly edition.
I found another $1.
It's $5. The weekly edition around the association, the Zion Williamson Chronicles. They continue with New Orleans just several games out of playoff position. I believe 3 games out of that 8th seed. Zion Williamson, this will be his first playoffs if they do make it. That's not the streak. It's JJ Redick's playoff streak. 15 years of consecutive playoff appearances. JJ Redick. It's at risk. It's at risk. It's at stake here. First with Orlando Magic, then with Milwaukee Bucks, then with the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Philadelphia 76ers, and now with the New Orleans Pelicans. With just 3 games left, if the regular season does continue, JJ Redick's playoff streak is in question. And at the beginning of the season, in a press conference introducing Redick to the team, he talked to Zion, and in the press conference he said that Zion better not mess this up for him. So, JJ Redick, his playoff streak, it's in risk if the 8th seed Grizzlies make the playoffs. That's it. No more playoff Redick. That's going to be our take. It's JJ Redick's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, I just want to chime in really quick, and then I'll send it over to Jack. But JJ Redick, big fan of the player, big fan of the person. Shout out to the JJ Redick podcast on The Ringer. Love your guys' content. So, and I was just watching that, and JJ Redick really is one of those outstanding, upstanding guys in the league. And JJ Redick, what he's able to do, excuse me, throughout his career as a professional, is guys, let's get off our.
I was looking at JJ Redick's page on NBA app.
Not you, Mike. I was just kidding.
I use this for research when we're here.
I was looking at the NBA standings because I want to see how many games were left.
Connor was Snapchatting.
Connor's
why you gotta call me? You threw a can at me. Why you gotta call me out?
I threw a can at you off camera, so
camera,
they don't
that's
know
right.
about that.
He threw a can at me off camera. So he goes, "Does that make?" So Mike Hook, he has this bang right here. This bang. He looks at me because I forgot because we're ordering food or something stupid. I forgot.
We were ordering wings.
We're ordering wings for us, and Mike, I said something. Mike looks at me. He goes. He winds the can up to throw at me. He goes, "Don't worry, there's nothing in here." He throws at me. Of course, there's stuff in there, liar. And it gets in my.
There was like this much in here.
There was not that much. There was a bit.
There was.
It went down my shirt.
All right.
You're a liar and deceitful.
Okay, I threw it at you because you weren't banging or hanging.
That
Okay?
JJ Redick, what he's been able to do over the course of his career is fantastic, and I don't want that to come to an end because he deserves to compete at the highest level against the best of the best. And he's just such a his shot creation skills, being that wonderful spot up 3-point shooter, and being a leader for the younger guys like Zion and obviously Lonzo Ball. He's played such an integral role for New Orleans, and I'd love to see them in the playoffs over any other team just because I want to see Zion take, even if they get swept in the first round, I want to see it. You know what I mean?
Playoff Zion.
Yeah, playoff Zion. Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I actually think if the regular season was still being played, I would give the Pelicans the edge over Memphis and Portland. I think that first round matchup between the Pelicans and the Lakers would be entertaining. Ooh. Zion versus LeBron, that'd be amazing. But
Brandon Ingram's revenge.
Brandon Ingram's revenge, exactly. But Pelicans got a nice young team. I think when the season does come back, I think the Pelicans are going to be. I think it's going to be between them and Portland. No disrespect to the Memphis Grizzlies. They've had a great season. John Morant has been playing out of his mind, but I think that Pelicans and Portland both have more weapons, and now that they're going to be healthier, I think the Pelicans are better suited for a playoff run when it comes to that. But getting back to Zion's a dog. He's a player, and he's I feel like he's come on more strongly than I even thought he would. I think he's played like 20 games, something like that. Yeah. He's been all that I think all NBA fans wanted and more. I think he's becoming a superstar in front of our eyes. He's been in conversations like, who would you rather have, Luka, Trey, or Jason Tatum? And then Zion is already among those guys who've already made all-star appearances and stuff. I think Zion is just going to keep getting better and better. It's going to be good for him to get some time off too because, he did come back from an injury, played 20 games. Now there's going to be no minute restriction for him. He's going to be full send in Zion, and it's going to be fun to watch. But, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Zion, obviously we know he's a beast. In his time in the league, he's averaging 23.6 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 2.2 assists. And here's the thing. He's part of the elusive 50-40-60 club.
Already?
No, he's not. That's not actually a thing.
I
made that up.
50-40-60, dude.
50-40-90, that's what it's
Yeah, I was playing off of that. But, 58.9% from the field, 46.2% from 3-point. Let's actually see how many shots. Okay, he's only taken 13 shots from 3. But he still nailed 6
His first game, he was like 4 for 4.
He was. It was weird. Like he suddenly was like the best career 3-point shooter in NBA history.
He became JJ Redick.
Dude, that's the weird thing, though, is that, like, with JJ, you got to think about, like, how he might be tutoring Zion, because JJ's one of the most underrated three-point shooters of NBA history, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the reason people don't respect him as much is because he's not one of those pull-up shooters. He's a catch-and-shoot guy.
Yeah.
But he's, what's his stats? He's averaging 45.2% from three this season, 41.6 for his entire career.
That's JJ Redick.
Yes, that's JJ Redick.
Okay.
No, that's obviously Zion.
Yeah.
No, but I think that JJ coming to New Orleans this season, nobody talked about it, but that was going to be a major help to Zion because he has a good tutor in three-point shooting now.
Right.
Obviously, Lonzo Ball wasn't going to teach him.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brandon Ingram wasn't going to be old enough to be a good tutor. I love it, actually. I think that he was by far the best signing that they could have had in terms of mentorship and tutelage, because that's the one thing that they were really lacking this year, with the exception of Josh Hart, was good quality three-point shooting. And, well, they also have Nico Melli, but Nico Melli is Nico Melli. So,
Right.
yeah, and playoff Zion, I would love to see it. I want Portland to sneak in because I love Portland. I think that they're one of the best, one of the most talented and honestly slept-on teams in the entire league. The only reason that they're this low is because they've faced injury problems. And I would love to see Portland, but don't get me wrong, the Pelicans would be very entertaining to see. And speaking of this playoff race, Sacramento Kings, I think that Harrison Barnes, he said he was going to grow out his beard until he either hit 500 or they made the playoffs or clinched a playoff seed. Dude's going to look like a lumberjack.
He's going to look like he's 500.
Yeah. Dude's going to be looking like Moses out here at some point. And anybody else got any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right.
And I think, we talked about this in the beginning of the year, like New Orleans, like, wow, what a turnaround. They were able to ship off Anthony Davis, who was kind of damaged goods considering his injury and the fact that he did not want to play in New Orleans. And they were able to get a sizable return from him. And on top of that, they were able to bring in David Griffin into the picture as, I believe, he's a VP of basketball ops, something like that.
Yeah.
I just know he's working in the front office. Excuse me. We've got a wonderful coach in Alvin Gentry. And they were able to play as a team, as a unit. And yeah, sure, they've had their fair share of struggles with injuries and slow, dry spells, but they've been able to push through and move forward. And I think that's what they need to do here. Coming eventually, if we get back to the league, they need to be able to push. Like, they need to make every game count. And I think that Zion having more time to rest and like just work on his game, work on his body a bit more, will push him through this this dry period right now. But Connor, what else you got for us?
All right, well, surrounding the association, two former NBA players making their Big Three season debut this year. Former NBA champion Maurice Spates was up for his time with Golden State Warriors. Also spent some time with the Magic, Clippers,
Cavs
too, for a game. He's going to be making his appearance. Oh, but more notably, Zach Randolph announced that he's going to be joining the Big Three.
Really?
Randolph last played 17-18 season with Sacramento Kings. Was on the team last season, the Sacramento Kings roster and Dallas Mavericks when the trade happened, but he never played he never suited up, and then he was eventually waived by Dallas. And he announced that he's going to be joining the Big Three this summer. So Zebo's back. He's playing basketball again. So I thought that was pretty cool. Nothing really much to add there. Just
Yeah, I can chime in.
You want something? All right.
Yeah, I think the Big Three is really interesting because when it was first announced, I was like, 3-on-3, half court, old, washed up players. Like, no one's gonna watch that. But Ice Cube had that ingenuine thought of like, wait a minute, there's still a great subset of the NBA fan or basketball fan population that loves old school, tough nut basketball, right? And he took that concept and put in micromanaged it into and kind of made it super small but doable. That's what I think. That's the best part of this whole 3v3 thing is it's so doable. It's so cost effective, and that's what Ice Cube has been able to do. And this is really nice entertainment. Like, there are all these old guys who are just sitting around. They're not really, obviously they're just sitting around and they're not doing anything with their lives, or things are just slower because it's not as high paced as fast paced as the NBA. Excuse me. And the fact that they get a second chance to kind of come back, and this is like the perfect. It's kind of like graduating. You know what I mean? Like, you graduate and then like you move on to something else. That's what this is for a lot of players, and it's just fantastic. I think because there's a lot of players that are like in between and we've talked about this before. Like, the way the game is changing, some people aren't able to adapt. Like Dirk obviously like he in past 4 or 3 years weren't good for him, but. And that was a sign of the times changing, that he just could not adapt to that level of pace and 3-point shooting and all the things that come with it. And then obviously Zebo, great player, but just could not adapt. And it's great. I think this is a great second chance for all these players to be able to shine again for once. Any other thoughts before we cut it off? Nope. All right, Connor.
Got some more. So NBA players making a return to the league. Before the season was suspended, there were serious talks reported that Lance Stevenson was looking to make a return to the Indiana Pacers.
Dion Waiters
was picked up by the Lakers. And Joakim Noah, he's back. He was signed by the Clippers.
Wasn't it literally the day of the suspension of the NBA, or
a day before? But Noah's back in the league. Waiters on the Lakers, and Lance Stevenson, he might or not be close to a deal returning to the Indiana Pacers. So it's exciting. Teams stocking up, getting ready for playoff time. Those two LA teams, you sign Reggie Jackson, we're gonna sign Dion Waiters. You sign Dion Waiters, we're gonna sign Joakim Noah. Exactly. That's interesting to see that. And
I hate seeing it. I hate that.
Yeah,
so
Mike and Jack chime in on this. The Lakers Clippers.
Go Mike.
Here's the thing with the competitiveness of the two LA teams with signing a bunch of waived free agents and trading for all these players. I just hate it, because here's the thing: every single time somebody got waived or they got bought out. Every single time, it was the two teams that are the most interested in them are the Lakers and the Clippers. Mm-hmm. And it makes it seem like every single time that somebody got bought out or waived, it was okay, whichever team was actually interested in them, the other team became interested just because they were interested. And because you saw it with Marcus Morris at the trade deadline, mm-hmm. Both teams were interested in him. Both teams offered things for him. And I'm going to say the Lakers deal was a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
And the Knicks should have taken that. Because I think it was Kyle Kuzma, one other player.
And a pick.
Exactly. And they ended up taking Mo Harkless and a pick. And it's okay, so trash player, young player that was drafted in the 20s with insane potential. And it's stupid to me. And then Reggie Bullock, Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith, all were interested in him by both teams. Joakim Noah was the only player that showed no interest from the Lakers mm-hmm. in that array. And overall, it creates such an imbalance. And I get competitiveness. I get wanting to make your team better. But you're waiving players that, you waived players that you potentially could have used in mm-hmm. a good playoff run, or at least to have a solidified bench. And you're adding players that could have gone somewhere else and kept the nice balance that the NBA had at the very beginning of the season. Because all the dynamic duos, but then suddenly the LA Clippers come along and they trade for Marcus Morris, and they've got a starting lineup of Patrick Beverley, Landry Shamet, and then Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Paul George, and Ivica Zubac. Obviously, that's 6 players. Right. I don't know why I put Landry Shamet in there, but. It's okay, so we have all these great teams, but then we have this super team in LA. Yeah. And then it's the same. It's not as prevalent with the Lakers because they added Dion Waiters, and mm-hmm. that's it. They didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. And it's still a dynamic duo with a bunch of really good supporting pieces. But the Clippers, I don't like them anymore in the playoffs, especially after the Marcus Morris trade, because you have mm-hmm. too many high-volume scorers. Yeah. Paul George obviously was an MVP candidate last year. Kawhi Leonard is a consistent 26-point per game scorer when he actually plays. Marcus Morris was a 20-point per game scorer in New York. Lou Williams is a 20-point per game scorer off the bench. I don't see this working out. And Montrezl Harrell, too.
Yep.
Also want to add another 20-point scorers on the team, Reggie Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie.
Okay, inflated stats because he was playing on the Pistons.
Yeah, but he was really good this final. Before they waived him, he was really good. Now he's doing pretty good. Just for 20 minutes a game in LA. Jack?
I don't think that. I think we're making a little too much of these Clippers moves. I don't think these moves make them that much better. I think the Lakers are still a lot better than them. I think the Dion Waiters move for the Lakers was a better move than the Joakim Noah move for the Clippers.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
But I think that this Clippers team, they got a solid starting 5. Obviously, they got Lou Williams and Montrez off the bench, 2 6 man of the year candidates perennially. But did they really need this stuff added? I don't think so. I think Marcus Morris and all those guys can just give Kawhi, Paul George, guys like that a break. I think this Clippers team, they're set up for a deep run in the playoffs. I don't see anybody beating the Lakers right now. That's just my opinion.
Mhm.
But I think that, the moves they made, kudos to them because nobody else is willing to make them. Waiver wire is a lonely place in the NBA if you were a player. Deion Waiters gets another chance. JR is still out there if anybody needs a shooter who can come in and score 9 points on 3 for 17 shooting. But it's all right. I think this Clippers team, Marcus Morris, he's going to fit. I think he's going to fit in well with the second unit there with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell.
Mhm.
But I think the Clippers, I think Doc Rivers is a good enough coach to make the pieces fit together. I think he'll put a system in that'll allow them, the high-volume scorers, too many of them, I feel like that won't be a problem. He's dealt with it before in Boston. It worked out pretty well for the Celtics in 2008 when they won the championship. He's dealt with it with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and Lou Williams on the same team. And I think he'll just figure out again. I think this Clippers team will lose in the Western Conference Finals, but still a pretty solid year.
All right. So hot takes all around. And I definitely agree. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Clippers-Lakers series, if we end up getting to that point, fares. But thank you guys for tuning in to a wonderful episode.
And one more.
Go ahead, Connor.
One more short one. One more. It's one more before we go. The final night of the league, potentially, for the rest of the season. Who was the hero of the night? Was it Mark Cuban, who announced he was initiating a program to help pay for Dallas Mavericks employees?
No.
It wasn't Luka Doncic, who had near triple-double.
Oh, I know who it was.
It was Boban Marjanovic. Boban, his first start as Dallas Maverick, he had 31 points and 17 rebounds. In a victory, a much-needed Dallas victory over the Denver Nuggets, Boban, a career-high 31 points and a career-high 17 rebounds. He was out-hustling. He stole the ball away from Joker. He poked it away in an inbounds play. He poked the ball away from Nikola Jokic and dunked on him. But then he went to the free throw line. He was 8 from 8 from the free throw line.
Holy cow.
And then he had 17 rebounds. He was dunking on dudes. He was grabbing offensive rebounds. They couldn't guard him. Paul Millsap couldn't guard him. And Boban, without Porzingis playing, a much-needed Dallas win.
Mm-hmm.
And the hero, they released the Boban. And with that out of the way, that's going to be it for our Island Association today. Shahzeb, any final thoughts here?
I really appreciate mentioning Boban and how they released the Boban because I was completely oblivious to it because I was focusing on the fact that the world was coming crashing down.
I think it was a little overshadowed, but
Focus on the positives.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in to this wonderful episode of the Just Hoop Show on Unbranded Sports. Please check us out on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating review. Check us out on social media at unbranded.sports. And, of course, check out our wonderful executive producer, Jacob Yucom on YouTube. Killjoy Jake.
I got one more thing to
Jake's
say.
got a plug. Jack's got a plug.
Wash your damn hands, people.
Wash your hands.
And, go follow me on Instagram, all that stuff.
Mike, anything else?
stop stockpiling on shit. This is not the apocalypse, people. Buy 2 things of toilet paper, a gallon of hand sanitizer,
Gallon. That's a lot.
and leave it at that. Don't go buying 40 gallons of hand sanitizer.
See, this is the way to go. See, on the keys,
Yeah.
it's always
Oh,
there.
wow.
That's what you do.
Okay, maybe not a gallon. Let's go with like a quart. But yeah, so y'all crazy.
Yes.
Y'all fucking crazy.
Crazy.
Stay safe out there, people.
Yeah, for real.
And remember, your day could be bad, but as always, you could be the New York Knicks. Shahzeb?
Good evening, or good morning. Listen. No, there's a meme. It's not really a meme. It's a line from a wonderful movie, The Truman Show. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. In case I don't see you, good night.